Good evening and welcome to this live podcast. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and this is a podcast to talk about how to fight CPS and stop taking your children. Had a little difficulty getting on today, but hopefully your patience will be well with me on that. This is sometimes a hard thing to do here, but basically, I'm a loving father and a husband of 32 years with 6 children. And I've been doing this since October, twice a day, 7 days a week, at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for an hour, and evening at 7 o'clock Pacific Time for an hour. Now, on Sunday, I come on at 8 in the morning. So I don't come on at 10 on Sunday, but Sunday and any other times I will tell you that. The podcast is live, and there's several ways you can participate in the podcast. One is you can call my office number at 626-698-0990. That's my direct line to my phone, and during the show times I'm on, I'll answer the call. So other times it's not answerable, but if you call in, you can talk on the show, put you on speakerphone, and you can talk about your case that deals with CPS. So that's 626-698-0990. And another way that you can interact with this podcast is that you can go ahead and text in comments. I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And you found me on Facebook. And you type in your comment about your CPS questions. Please show me your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. That means start from the beginning, and if it involves several biological fathers or involves several children, or it's a repeated case, where it is, the more complete is, the better I can help you. Faye, welcome. So glad you're here. I had a rough time getting on today, but I'm glad you're here. And anyway, Faye's one of my regulars. She's from Richmond, Kentucky. And so she's one of our regulars there. Now, another way that you can interact with this podcast is you can schedule a time to be a guest on my show. I've had many guests on my show, and I'd love to have you as my guest. All you need to do is contact our producer. Her name is Grace. She works behind the scenes. She'll schedule a time to put you on and so forth. And to be our guest, all you have to do is email her at Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's her email. And you just pick one of the 14 shows, the Sunday morning show, the Tuesday evening show, the Wednesday morning show, the Friday evening show. That's all you need to tell her. And she'll take care of the rest. She'll help you get on and explain how it works and so forth. And you be my guest on the show. And I'd love to have you. I do have several co-hosts that from time to time come on. One of them is in this room. Her name is Faye. And the other one is Danielle, but she has some technical difficulties. And so she's having a hard time there. So to be a guest, you email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Now, I'm going to leave my phone number up there. The other number you see on the screen, the 888-888-6582, that's the number of my office. And also, this show is produced by Vincent W. Davis and Associates. The key attorney there is Vincent W. Davis. He is a family dependency attorney with over 35 years of experience. He's a trial attorney. He can fight CPS. He has fought CPS, and he's beaten CPS. He's also done civil lawsuits against CPS, both federal and state court. So he's great. He can go to all the 50 states. Northern California. He works out of Southern California, and he has a consultation where he'll talk to you for 30 minutes for $60, and he'll help you navigate uh, and fight CPS. And if you want to hire him, he'll talk about his retainer, and he'd love to defend you. He was my attorney, helped get my boys back. So that's 888-888-6582. You just tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and then when you speak to Mr. Davis, you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. Also, on the scrolling on the bottom of my screen, there is a way to go to his website. It's called Candly, CALENDLY.com/law office of VWD/Bob Pace. That'll take to his appointment, and you can schedule a consultation with him. And it's worth every dime of it. So anyway, he's an attorney that will help you. We'll talk to you. Welcome, Natalie from West Hollywood. I'm so glad to see you here. Bob, I told your rules today to a gardener, even though it helped. Good. Thank you for sharing my rules. I have 3 rules, everybody out there listening. 1 is to get an attorney to fight your case. 2 is to organize your paperwork to help fight your case. And 3 is learning to say no to social workers. Don't let them in your home. Don't let them take your children. And especially if you're at the hospital for medical treatment, don't let them take your children. And don't, when you give birth, let them take your children. They do medical trafficking. They do all kinds of trafficking. And I'm really sad to say they are not very nice people. If you want to get an idea what kind of people there are, I always talk about my pink ladies. My pink ladies are 8 social workers that work for the child protection system in Arizona, in Prescott. They call their child protection system DCS, Department of Children's Services. Anyway, these 8 ladies made these pink t-shirts. On the front, you silk screen, they're proud words that they're professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put in, do you know where your children are at? And that is such a very sickening thing that the mentality of social workers have that. Of course, they were fired. There's 8 of them, and they had over 25 years. And the whole department lost all the social workers except one guy. And the director was fired too. And that happened in 2022 at Prescott, Arizona. Look it up. You can see it. It makes you sick to your stomach. Let me see. What did Faye say? I just got a notification for a podcast. Okay. I don't know if that's my podcast or what, but I'm glad that you know how to find me. I was a little bit late here, Faye. And I'm lucky to be here and lucky to be alive, I tell you. I'm thankful. I really care about you people. I really want to help you people. And if there's anything you have a question, I'll help you. I'll relate my case. I've been fighting for 15 years. I've talked to over 500 people in every state, and they are bad. They will traffic your children into foster care. Well, at least I know the notifications are going out now, so that is good. That is good. Thank you, Faye, for telling me that. Well, there's a lot of topics we can talk about. We have my rules that I briefly talked about, and we have a lot of different things. We have the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act. We have the 388 motion. We have the ICPC, which is the international organization that transports children from state to state. There's a lot of things we can talk about. I'm not a lawyer, but I find that the internet is a wealth of information about how to fight CPS and how to get your kids back. And I'm sorry you're going through all this. It's not the most pleasant thing to deal with. I know that for a fact it isn't. So, with that being said, let me see what Faye has to say. Oh, yeah, social workers get fired over pink shirts. Yeah. Appeals are important. Thank you, Natalie. Yes. Don't always accept the outcome. You need to be a fighter. All of you should have an attorney. And I'm talking not a court-appointed attorney. They're a waste of time. They're carrying a caseload of 30 or more clients. They don't know dependency law like a real professional attorney does, and they certainly don't know how to fight CPS. They will just bury you alive in your cases and they'll torture you for the next couple of years. So you need to go out and get an attorney. And we have one right here. It's just calls in 888-888-6582. Name is Vincent W. Davis. And he will talk to you and strategize and help you navigate through CPS. He has a consultation of 30 minutes for $60 and it's worth every cent of it. So if you don't get an attorney, you run the risk like I did. I didn't get an attorney the first year and I lost my daughter because of that. I hate for you guys to lose that because they're not transparent. They lie, they do revenge, they cheat, they embellish money. It's an $80 billion business that CPS does. They get $20,000 a child here in Orange County, 15 in LA County, Washington is 8,000. It varies from state to state, county to county, place to place. But it's $80 billion and it's paying out to social workers who are not licensed, who don't have a college degree, don't even have the indication. Now, I'll go back to this attorney thing. Can you imagine doing open heart surgery yourself or with a layman or an intern or something there? That's a real risky operation. And so is CPS. It is a worst nightmare. If you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, that's what CPS is. You fall in the rabbit hole in the garden and you're in a bunch of rooms and they're saying crazy things like off with your head and you don't know what room is right or what room to turn in the doors and you're slowly drawn in like a spider is weaving a web around you. You'll be eaten alive and they'll spit you out. They don't care. Now, I have had social workers on here. Her name was Carol. She was from Maryland. She did say she had a clinical psychology degree, and she said the state of Maryland put her through 6 months of training. That was hard to believe because most of the people from Maryland have said something totally different. But she talked for 40 minutes. So I challenge any social workers that are listening. I know you're in here listening, that if you want to talk about your CPS, I don't think you guys are pink ladies. I don't think you go around that you're proud to be a professional kidnapper or that you want to know where your children are at. That's wrong. That's wrong. We don't need that. We have a hard enough time with our families. The best parents, by the way, are the biological parents. It's proven time and time again that biological parents are the parents that will best watch your kids. Best watch your kids. So it's important. Just like open heart surgery, you get a professional doctor. You need to get a professional attorney. And it's called a family dependency attorney. And I have an attorney right here, Vincent Davis, that will talk to you for $60. You have nothing to lose. He'll tell you everything there is about CPS and how to fight them. And it's 30 minutes of your life. And it's well worth the $60 to spend it there. So contact him. So my rule is, one is you get an attorney. You need a fighter. That's what Vincent is. He's a fighter. So you get a fighter there. Now, let me see here. I'm trying to read now. Yeah, thank you for posting the link there, Faye, about the pink ladies. Natalie from West Hollywood says, Richard Pilfer, Esquire, appealed for dependency. DCS is like the Blade Runner and and Mad Max reality. Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess it might be considered that. But they are. It is so sad to think about that. There's another social worker from Chicago, Illinois, that posted on her Facebook. I don't know how she got away with this, but she posted an ad of 1848. Said black children for sale. Now that's an awful, awful thing to post. It's an awful thing coming from a social worker. 1848 was a long time ago. That's when we had the Civil War. And yes, slavery was part of it. And yes, most of the slaves were black. And yes, the blacks were treated bad. But this is 2024. And we shouldn't be putting that kind of stuff. We shouldn't be wearing a t-shirt. We should not be, a lot of the social workers have said the reason why they don't tell the truth, they think they'll lose their job. There's been case after case, and Faye will support me on this, that social workers interviewed that say the reason why they lie, the reason why they do what they do is they're threatened by their boss. I mean, today, Boeing was being questioned by Congress, and the Boeing CEO there had whistleblowers and that were fired and things like that. It's sad. I don't know. It's everywhere. There are corruption everywhere, and CPS is probably the worst of them. They are the worst of them, and there are horror stories. I can tell you that people on here have told me. And it's sad that you're in there, but I've learned that my rule number 3, and I guess I'm going to talk about rule number 3. Rule number 3 is you do not talk to social workers or police. You don't let them in your home. You don't let them take your children. Yeah, Faye says they are threatened by supervisors and their own attorney to lie in court. Not all social workers lie because they're threatened, but some are. Yeah, I know. And not all social workers are bad, and not all the social assistants is bad. But 99% of the cases I know are bad. They take children out that are not in immediate danger. They take these children and they put them in foster care. They traffic them. They do alienation, which is against the law. That's where they try to separate the child from the parents. Parents will do alienation too when they're going through a divorce. They'll try to get the children and go against the other parent. That process is alienation. That's against the law. Trafficking is against the law. But they put them right away into social. And they don't care. They don't care they're supposed to. This is the scenario in rule number 3. You're at home. You hear a knock at the door. You, like most people, probably open the door. Now, there's a sad story to this, and I tell the people that relate to it. A guy named Roger, who was an Air Force airman, 23 years of age in Gainesville, Florida, opened the door and point blank, a gun went off by a sheriff 5 times, and he died on the spot while talking to his girlfriend on FaceTime. That girlfriend watched on her video camera as her boyfriend died, as his last breath came into play. So I'm telling you, don't answer the door. If that's not enough to tell you to scare you not to, just don't. You have a mailbox. You have a phone. They can leave a business card. There's nothing more, because what they want to do when you answer the door, they want to come in and look at your home, and they're going to find something wrong with it. I don't care how clean you keep it, how organized. They're going to find something used against you. They need a court order. It's a thing called a warrant. It's a legal documentation signed by a judge, embossed by a stamp that says the following information. It says it's addressed to the person they're investigating, the allegations, the children involved, the address of the place, the time they can do the investigation, the date and time, and what they're doing, looking for. Are they looking to search the home? Are they looking to take a child? Are they looking to talk to you? It has to be a legal warrant. That goes for the police too. They're bounded by the same law. It's your constitutional right to protect your home. Now, if there's a crime in progress, if the child is being threatened, like slammed against the wall, there's gunshots going off, people are fighting, they're going to come in. They're going to come in. But I'm telling you right now, if you're at home and you're trying to best to take care of family, and a lay person has called in because your dog barks too much and want to do a complaint with CPS to get you in trouble. That's the bad part about laymen. Laymen have a tendency to lie. You see, no one has to give them, when they call in the allegations, they don't have to give them their name. They don't have to, the thing is, allegations should be written in. If someone is going to report allegations, neglect, abuse, should write in. That also goes for the professional people, because professional people are required by law to contact CPS, a teacher, a doctor, or so forth. So, that is really, really important there. Hold on one second. My producer, um, uh, has an emergency, and so she got to take care of her cat. And apologize for the interruption. So, um, okay, life is really interesting. All of us are faced with hardships and turmoil, and a lot of us are in there because of the way things have come down. Our economy is really struggling right now. We're hurting. Things are so expensive. It's unbelievable how expensive things are and how bad people are to one another. This thing about calling in the late people, that's wrong. That's wrong. Because here's the problem. CPS, when they hear an allegation, they believe it's true. You're guilty until you're proven innocent in CPS. You're guilty till you're proven innocent in CPS. Okay, I'm back on. I had to blow my nose, and I didn't want to make it so loud. I have a runny nose for some strange reason. Anyway, I'm back. So, we're talking about how lay people, and that's what happened with my case. Lay people, my in laws, for 5 years were reporting that we weren't taking care of our children, we weren't feeding them, not putting them in school, not paying the utility bills, and being really bad parents, which wasn't true. And I didn't find out that until much later, after I finally hired an attorney. See, I didn't have an attorney the first year. And that was a big mistake. And one of the things you should do, if CPS comes knocking at the door, don't answer it. Think about that black man, that Roger, that was shot to death. And that could all have been avoided. The sheriff did some really bad mistakes. His camera footage showed stuff too. Look it up. It's May 3rd. Roger from Gainesville, Florida, and the sheriff. There's a lot of killing that takes place in Gainesville. I don't think it's a really safe city there. But I don't know how to emphasize that I should not. See, my problem is I talked to him. For 5 years, I talked to him. They'd come to my home. Oh, we hear that you don't have paid your utility bills. And I show them the utility bills. I said, here, they're paid in full. Over here, you don't have food. I show them a refrigerator. I show her meal preparation area. I show them their bedrooms and stuff. My house was fine the first 5 years. The only thing that hurt me was a detective tricked me into coming and following him home. He had a black and white pull me over for some forced traffic violation. I should have said, "Give me the give me the ticket, and I'm not going to go home." I should have known that. There's no warrant. Instead, there were 5 or 9 people in my front yard. 5 firemen, 2 code enforcement, 2 uniformed policemen, 3 social workers, and the detective. Why does it take that many people to investigate a CPS case? These CPS workers are sick. They're vendetted. I don't know how else to explain to you. And at that time, my parents were in the process of dying. They're older in age and stuff. And they asked me, could I take their belongings because they were selling their house. They're moving out of their house. And I said, well, sure. I should really put them in storage. But my daughter and I, my youngest daughter, and I'll never forget her, went up to my parents' home and packed up the U-Haul and brought all their belongings. Well, we put them in my home. The mistake was putting belongings of somebody's in your home stacked on top of each other in boxes and on furniture. The social workers saw that and said, oh my goodness, you're neglecting your children. Those boxes can hurt the children. They could fall over and hurt them, or the furniture could. I said, wait a second. My children are 9, 12, and 15. They're taller than the boxes. They can't be hurt. They're not in their bedroom. Their bedroom's perfectly safe. There's walkways around here. But anyway, they said, oh, they're in imminent danger. We got to take them. Where do they think the kids were? They're in school. How is they in school in imminent danger? I did not know the law. They love to take children no matter what. 99% of the time, they'll have an allegation, they'll take the child. There's a guy I was talking to from Louisiana, Columbia, Louisiana. And he's out in the yard doing some work. And his wife is in the house laying down. And the social workers came barging into their yard, didn't ask for permission to open the gate. You see, when you have a gate, people have to ask permission to open it. It's your private property. It's part of your constitutional rights. It's wrong. If you have a big ranch and you got an entrance, you put no trespassing. They're not supposed to do that. Anyway, they came in. She said she was house laid down. You know what they did? They opened the door and walked in. He didn't give them permission to do so. And they rounded up the children and put them in a van because the parents didn't know that they could take them. They didn't have a warrant or anything. They just steal and take, steal and take, steal and take. Those are the social workers, professional kidnappers. Yeah, Natalie, you should lock your gate. I know. She has a gate to her yard, to her home and stuff. But social workers are so bad at hospital, in medical trafficking. You're having a baby in the hospital in the birth room. The social workers barge in. Oh, we just saw the test results. You have tested some drugs in you. We're going to take that baby right now that's coming out of your uterus. That's gross. First of all, the mother needs to have the baby in privacy. And the social workers and the policemen can wait in the lobby. And they didn't have a court order. So I'm telling you, you have to be careful when you go to the hospital. Or a mother and father are taking their child because he has a high fever, he's sick and stuff. The doctor analyzes and says that, he needs some rest and needs this or that. And the people said that we'll talk to a pediatrician and get him feeling better. You know what the social worker do? They took the children because they thought that the parents weren't going to take care of the child. Kids get sick. Kids get sick. Kids get sick. Well, we're about halfway through the show. We're at the 30-minute mark. I did start later than I thought so. And my producer had to take care of her cat, which I think is important. We all have things that come up and things that came up. And today I had a problem that I couldn't be there right on that time there, and knows how important it is. But Faye, if you'd like to call in to help me talk about some of the topics, that would be great. One thing, yeah, Faye, we could talk about. I'll finish up my rules. Rule number 3 was, again, don't talk, don't let them in, and that goes true for policemen. And if you happen to see them outside, tell them, I'm sorry, but I really have to stop at this moment. I'm going to get a hold of my attorney, and I'll discuss that with him before I talk to you any further. That's an easy way to get away from social workers. You don't have to let them in your house, and you don't have to go back in your house. They need a warrant. And in the hospitals, don't let them take your children. They have to have a warrant, even in the hospital. So that's rule 2. Rule 3. Rule 1 was get an attorney. Rule 3 is to say no to social workers, not let them in your home there. Now, rule 2 is to keep your paperwork organized. I never did. And you need to get yourself a 3-ring, 6-inch thick notebook, something that you can flip through, and you want to stuff it full of college rule notebook paper so you can write in it. And then you want to put dividers and divide it up. And one of the dividers, one of the most important one, are the incidents that happen. You need to start a log of all the incidents. You need to put the date, the time, the location, and the people involved on the first line. The second line is describing the incident, and the third line is the outcome. If you don't know the outcome, leave some spaces and come back to it. Then you skip a couple lines to the next incident and keep repeating. And all the incidents involving the police, the social workers, anything related to your CPS case, that's what you want to put on as incidents. Another subject tab could be info, like the places that you have found help with CPS, fighting CPS, the websites, the phone numbers, the names of people. And that could be another tab. And a third tab could be all the parenting classes you finished, all the programs you finished, the anger management program, the drug rehab program, the parenting classes. You put all the certificates in there, and you organize it so that way you can show the court or your attorney that you've taken these following classes and so forth. Also, a good spot to stick your clinical psychologist reports and your drug testing reports. You'll have a lot of drug testing. They always think everybody's on drugs. I don't know what it is, but they think that everybody's on drugs. Now, how did the police steal your clothes from your house, Natalie? Were they on the laundry line, or how did they steal your clothes? That's ridiculous. I never heard of anybody stealing somebody's clothes. Well, yeah, people from neighborhoods, they're leaving out the laundry and stuff like that. But I'm curious, Natalie, how they stole your clothes. So with that paperwork, you keep, it organized. Your court papers, all your court papers, you punch 3 holes in them, stick them in a binder. Have a section on court papers. So you have your incidents, you have your info, you have your classes, you have your court papers. Those are your headings on your subject matter. So you can do all that. Let's see what now is. They stole my clothes from inside the living room in a bag when they took my kids. I didn't know that. I mean, did they have a warrant, Natalie? Did they have a warrant to take your kids and your bag of clothes? Whoops. Oh, brother. Did they have a bag or something there? So no warrants. Did you know you're not supposed to let them in your home? I guess you let the police come in there too. What was the reason for them coming in your home? Now, I mentioned earlier about ICWA. That stands for the Indian Child Welfare Act. And that was passed in 1978, 100 years too late, because in 1875, the American Indians pretty much were on a downhill spiral, being sent to reservations, their hair being cut off, their traditions abolished, their language abolished, and the children sent to Indian schools. But what's happening over those 100 years from 1875 to 1975 and thereafter to 1978 was that CPS automatically, when they took the children, never made any effort to do unification with the Indian families. They're just like the people were to the black families in the 1800s. And today, still, the majority of the people that are taken by CPS are Indian, black, and Hispanic. And that is sad too, because, most times they could be treated fairly and the family could be restored if they have a slight hiccup. Domestic violence does happen. There is the argument that takes place, bitter argument in front of the kids. You never want to do that. And if you get angry and you hit your spouse, that is bad too. So those kinds of things will get you in trouble. But you can take an anger management class. Your kids you can see your kids under supervision. There's lots of ways they can do to help you. They're looking for a dog. Well, I still think the best thing to do is just ignore the knocking of the doors. And all I have to do is think about that Roger guy being shot 5 times in the chest, point blank. I mean, what did he do wrong? What did he do wrong? Wrong place, wrong time. They had the wrong house. There's domestic violence going on. The sheriff never even think about listening or anything. So anyway, I'd love to have someone call me at 626-698-0990, share them your story, and maybe answer some questions and so forth. Or some more comments are great. I love the emojis. I love your reviews, because I really want to help you guys get your kids back. You have to follow the orders. You have to have a case plan. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. You need to know the flow chart of how it all works, how it all starts. Good evening, and who do I have the delightful pleasure to speak to?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm okay. That's what they do. You have to tell everybody that the police steal because they stole the big bag of clothes I got from my other house, and they stole my kids. So they lied and they said that they were looking for a dog.
Hold on, Natalie. Natalie. Okay, Natalie, I want to introduce you. You know me, I know you, but the audience may not. The person just called in is a mother who loves her children, who's been fighting CPS for a long time. She's from West Hollywood, California, and she lives a real simple life and try to do her best. and she's been on my show as a regular. And now she's called in, and she's talking about. And I was asking her why they were searching for a dog. Can you kind of start from the beginning of how this all started? So maybe there's something there that people can learn from.
Okay, so basically, this is what happened in the beginning. So what happened was like my brother were like going in between the houses. My mom and dad passed away, so my brother had an idea for us to come stay in here because the other house, I mean, it was fine, but it was much safer. But somehow he thought like if he could fix the other house, it, in the long term. But then like what happened is the people are nasty here. They don't like children, and then so they actually sent me a nasty letter. So I ran back to the other house, but I didn't run back. I mean. So
can you tell me before we go much further, what kind of a housing was this? A HUD? Is this a low income housing, or what are these houses?
This is a regular house, like my grandparents' house.
Okay, so your grandparents had a house, and then your mother and father took over the house, right?
Well, yeah, they did.
Okay, now when your parents passed away, and I'm sorry to hear that. Did they just leave you children to the house? Is that how you got the house?
Yes, they left the trust. So
Okay.
They have a trust, so they left.
So you had this house. So why were the neighbors upset with you living in your house?
Because they don't like children here. They don't like
well,
it.
How old were you?
They don't have that kind of lifestyle.
Right. How old were you when your mother and father passed away?
I was about 32.
Well, 32 is not a child.
No, I know.
I mean, are these old? Is this a senior place? Is this what it is?
No, it's not. It's just you go to regular place in West Hollywood.
Well, West Hollywood has always been strange every time I've been there. So,
right.
I can imagine
now
that.
They're picking on my plants, which is bizarre because I think my friend, because he called the girl some name, like she wasn't attractive, so she called the city for the plants. But the plants are inside, and I trimmed even the grape vines. They're just going crazy.
What I understand is this neighborhood run by CC&Rs? Is it a private neighborhood? I mean,
it's not run by anything.
Well,
they're crazy people.
I know,
There's
but
no HOH, no nothing.
Well, can you make a complaint to your council person of that area in West Hollywood?
Yeah, I could, but it's just ridiculous because everybody doesn't listen. For example, on the last Saturday, the guy was taking pictures of my plants, and I told him not to take pictures of my plants. He's thinking it's a violation. It's not. It's just plants. They're inside. They're just like, they're not even overground. They're like in the potted. They're in their pots. They're right there. It's just people going crazy. They have nothing better to do with their time. Well, and I didn't let them in. Well, thank God.
Yeah, you don't. I just hope that people know, because that black man is dead, and he let the policeman in the home and the appointment. So I'm telling you all out there, it's risky.
Don't open the gate. Don't open your house. And if they take pictures of your stuff, you have to ask why. Because they could just be doing something shady with it.
Well, yeah, that's why you don't want people take pictures of children. That's wrong, too.
That's wrong, too. I mean, they could take a picture of your home, and they shouldn't be doing that.
How old were you when the police came to take your children? How old were you?
About 32 years old.
Okay. Now, why did the police come out at 32? Did someone make a complaint or what?
Yeah, somebody complained. There's this black guy here. He's a jerk. Okay, I don't want to be racist, but he's a jerk. He doesn't work. He's a busybody. So he had to call the police because I got upset at my brother for not locking up the other house and getting the pets.
So you actually have two houses.
And he called the police, and he was just making such a story.
You have two houses that you own?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're living in this house. You're in your 30s. How old were your children at the time?
children were 2 and 3.
Okay, so you had young children, and
Yes.
were you alone, or did you have the man of those children with you?
Right now, then he passed away.
Your husband passed away?
Yeah, he passed away. Passed away about a few months after my mom passed away.
Oh, that's horrible. You lose
Yes,
your mom, and then you lose your husband, and then you lose your children. And so
right.
someone made a
parents,
complaint.
I lose my pets. They took
Right.
my pets. They took the clothes. It's just crazy.
So when they made these allegations, did CPS come out with the police, or did the police come out first?
No, what happened is the police, they came by themselves with 4 police officers because they would get a bonus. It's summer, so they could steal children. So basically, the LA County Sheriff Department is also a child trafficking organization. Everybody needs to know
I
that.
know the LA County, but
they work all together.
But the CPS are the people. The County of Los Angeles CPS, Child Protection Services, are the ones that will take the children, not the police.
That's true. So what they do is they didn't come with a DCFS worker. They just took them. They handcuffed me and they took me to the hospital, saying I need to go to the hospital. They came with a guy saying that there was a dog loose or something, and I opened the door to check on the dog. And I said, no, the dog is fine.
Wow. Your case is very, very unusual.
What?
Your case is very, very unusual.
Right, it is, because, and they came up, DCFS.
Well, wait a second. Did you ask the policeman?
DCFS says I was mentally together, but that's not true. I am.
Okay.
I work hard, Tomorrow I'll be cleaning the backyard to make it like so beautiful. Oh, I just want this vision. I really don't want to stay in the U.S. anymore. If I could just have my kids and just go to a foreign country where this doesn't happen, I'd be very privileged.
Well, I got news for you. It happens all over the world. We've had Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana from South America. We've had Mexico. We've had Mozambique on the east coast of Africa, and we've had Denmark. And lately we've had
them in Lebanon. I know that, but right now the situation is
Libya,
bad because of the war.
Yeah, Liberia on the west coast. Liberia on the west coast. All these countries have said, all these countries have said that CPS is awful. So, to tell people that, it's safer in England or it's safer in Canada or safer. No,
don't go to those countries.
I just trying to tell you is that there really is no safe space. You just got to find
no safe space.
Yeah, you got to be heads up. And one of the things are, did you ask
where you're going?
Did you ask the police?
Anywhere.
Did you ask the policeman what I'm being charged for? What criminal act will you be charged with?
Oh, you have to go to the hospital. I was like, what? I'm not sick.
Did they say you had a criminal charge against you?
No.
Then why were the police there? They're only supposed to administrate criminal matters. What crime did they suspect you that you're committing?
I didn't commit any crime. That's the thing. I didn't commit anything. I was in the house, and then I took a shower, and then my neighbor was watching the kids inside the living room, and I had a big bag of clothes. And they stole that too, and then they beat up my neighbor.
Now, why'd they beat up your neighbor?
Elderly.
Why'd they beat up your neighbor?
They beat him up. They handcuffed him. They beat him up. They handcuffed me. They took the keys off of my neck. I have them always there. They took my bracelets. They threw them. They did all these horrible things. They took my kids out of the window, and they didn't have to. The door was open. I kept saying, please don't leave the door open. The dogs are coming out. They could get hurt. And my kids.
Well, Faye is backing you up here because Faye has just written in. The nice lady from Richmond, Richmond, Kentucky. She says, I was never arrested or put on a 5150. I don't know what that is. But a social worker did the same thing to me.
That's 5150 to make sure you're crazy. That's what they were thinking, so they could
okay.
use that to take my kids.
So 5150 is, but how can they determine
hospital.
social workers are not clinical therapists? Social workers are not clinical therapists.
Now you're the police.
No. And told me I had to go check myself involuntarily into a mental facility. And then Faye said they lied in court and said I was placed there, which is not true. Then Faye said the same thing was done to me. The social worker called the police to my house to when they decided to take my kids.
Right,
wow.
Faye. I'm 100% agreement. What they wanted to do is just find some kids in mine for some reason, and there's a social worker runs around in the neighborhood here. She lives here. She has a red truck.
Now, here we got, oh boy, hold on a second. Someone's trying to call in. I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
Hello, who's this? You guys speak up. Who is this? Okay. I'm back with you. Someone called in and didn't identify themselves, so I don't know who it was. But
I don't know. Well, good luck to them.
well, I meant
God bless them.
I can only talk to one person at a time.
Every day I pray and pray. I see my kids. Everybody should have their children, but I pray in silence.
This is hard to believe.
Have this.
You know, Face.
I was even called a bad name the other day for no reason. Like, it was just really weird.
Well, you know, Faye also says they scour her neighborhood for kids. That sounds like the Prescott ladies from Arizona. The Pink Ladies have now moved to Kentucky because they're the professional child kidnappers.
So what happened is they got fired and they moved back to Kentucky. Wow,
well,
that's crazy.
I'm just saying that you know, Faye is telling me that they're scouring the neighborhood for kids. I mean,
no, I know that. I saw a video and Faye is right, 100% right. In Kentucky, I don't know all the cities. I'm just saying they are going in the neighborhoods looking, and they have clients that want children.
Wow.
They're prowling around to have children. They especially want to have they especially just want to have children. I don't know, maybe they could be European looking or whatever, but they just want children. It's for people, but
hold on. Hello. Can you talk? Hello.
Yeah, my service is a little messed up.
Well, that's okay. I can only do one phone call at a time, so you got to wait your turn. I have another call on the line. It's okay that you called. What can I do? Who are you and where are you from?
I am Ernest from Missouri.
Glad to meet you, Ernest. What you can do is you can call me tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or tomorrow night at 7 p.m. But I have another person on the phone, Ernest, okay?
Okay.
And you can text the comments and I'll answer them, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Ernest. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Bob. Hello?
Yeah, we had this guy twice call in. He's Ernest from Missouri. And he has a case. He didn't know that you can talk to more people, but I had you on the phone.
Okay.
So that's okay. I'm trying to understand how you were involved with the police. See, most of the people calling here say it's a CPS system that brings out the kids. They bring police along, but I never heard of where police show up, no criminal charges, and then tells you're crazy in the head and you have to go to the hospital. But then Faye, who's from another state, another city, says the same thing. So I know that what you guys are saying is really true.
Right. What they're doing is they're working together. So they saw the kids, they're driving around, the police, or that social worker, and they want those kids. And she's right.
Right. Well, I want to
what
welcome.
happened was at that time there were so many police driving around because the police house is right there on San Vicente and Santa Monica Boulevard. They used to drive around a lot.
Right.
But now they don't drive as much.
I want to welcome Ernest from Missouri as well as the rest of you, and I'm glad you guys are calling in. But if you want to talk, it's best to call me tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Not you, you're on the phone. I'm talking about the people that are calling in. Okay. You have to understand, I have a bunch of people in this room. I have right now 10, 15 people listening, 3 or 4 of you texting, and that's why I miss my co-host, Danielle, because she could help me.
Yeah, I miss Danielle too. I hope she just gets a small tablet or something to help her.
I hear her on that. So anyway, for all you listeners out there, I'm doing with a lady in West Hollywood who's been trying to get back her kids. Apparently, the LA County sheriffs came in and didn't arrest her, but said that she had to go to a mental hospital because they thought she was crazy in the head. And Faye has said the same thing in Richmond, Kentucky. They said the same thing happened to her. And it's sad that there's so much power that the social workers and the police exercise. And it's wrong. If they broke a law,
no, it is wrong.
If they broke a law, they arrest you. If it's a traffic violation, they write you a ticket. But they don't sit there and dictate and then steal your bag and oh boy.
They stole my keys. They stole my bags of clothes. They had nice clothes too. My brother went to the cemetery to see my dad, and there's a children's clothing shop down the road off of Slauson, the Catholic cemetery.
Yeah.
So he bought them brand new clothes, and they stole that too.
Oh.
Then my dad had bought them nice clothes too, and they were warm clothes, and they weren't that used much. They used them, but they were nice. We went to downtown LA, and he bought them, and they're still missing. Yeah. I want them. I mean, it's ridiculous. What do you want from me more than I have suffered in these whole years? 12 years. I want my kids, and I want them to know that I still want them home.
Well, I think to solve any of this, all you guys are listening out there, it's best not to talk to social workers or talk to the police. Right. It's best to say yes, no answers. And if they insist, just say to them, I need to talk to my attorney before we go much further. When you start saying you got an attorney, they will back off a little bit. You may not have one, but it is there. They say they trashed your house along with the social workers, I guess hoping they would find drugs, but never done drugs, so they had no such luck. Yeah.
Is that Faye?
Yeah, that's Faye. I'm reading the comments is what I'm reading in this.
I can't believe it. You know what they did? They even went to the other house and messed it up and looking for something in the drawers.
They're looking for drugs. They're looking for drugs. You see, this is the sad part. There's corruption everywhere. Police will plant drugs. I'm really sad to say.
Yeah, I know. They plant all this stuff.
I mean,
they didn't plant anything in here. They just stole things from us.
I'm going to finish off with this. I'm going to try to sign off because we've got about 2 minutes. But after today's hearing with the Boeing CEO, how they're hiding things and they're still flying planes at people's safety lives, the whole world really seems corrupt. And I'm sad to say that. So all of you out there, you got to think smart. You got to act smart. You got to look where you're going. You got to keep track of everything. Keep a journal. Keep going what's going, because this world is not like it used to be. This world is really in a lot of issues, and I don't have time to fix the world. But I want to thank you for all writing in and talking to me. Natalie, I'm so glad that you called in from West Hollywood to talk about your case. You've answered my questions. Faye, thank you for sharing how you have a similar thing as Natalie. Natalie, you had the same problem, different police departments. So what does that tell you? Ernest, thank you for calling in. Please call me tomorrow or tomorrow night. And we can talk about your case. I can try to help you out any way I can. Again, you got to follow the 3 rules. You got to get an attorney. You got to keep your paperwork organized. and you got to say no and don't let them take your children. So God bless you all, and
God bless you.
Yep, and
Keep praying,
thank you.
keep fighting.
Thinking, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we'll have another round at the bat of trying to help you all. God bless y'all, and don't give up.
Right.
Love your kids. I will talk to you
Love
tomorrow
you
then.
always.